guys, good evening. Welcome to the Pinnacle Mindset Show. It's Tuesday night, nearly 8 o'clock. My name's Hez. We've also got my other partner in crime, Robbie, and our special guest tonight is Richard Small.
Hi.
Excellent. So the theme of tonight's show is we're going to be talking about PTSD, sports, mental health, and any other areas that we just basically get chatting about tonight. So Richard, if we just start off with an introduction about yourself, just give us a lowdown about your sort of background, where you used to work, what you've done, and then we can sort of ask some questions from there.
Yeah, okay. So I'm Richard Small, originally from the Midlands. Joined the Royal Marines at 21, did just under 11 years, did 2 tours, Iraq and Afghanistan, left as a training corporal. I moved out of that into the private sector doing private security work, and now I've moved into the events and hospitality kind of industry. I run my own festival, also help out and as a consultant on a few other festivals. And yeah, I'm trying to bring work and I'm trying to bring sports and mental health together, because I believe it's a good thing to ease the mind and be able to move forward with a few things. And what I do is I try and bring friends. I try to bring like veteran-owned businesses into the little things, bring them together so we can all work together and all, hopefully, ideally, make a little bit of money as well. But it's the bottom line of it is basically keeping lines of communication open to each other.
Yeah, cool.
Fantastic. Sounds great. So just sort of going back to your days when you were, a Royal Marine, how were things when you were, in that position? I mean, you must have found it quite tough, some very challenging situations, obviously. How did you cope with it? And did you get any sort of side effects from when you were doing the role or afterwards?
Yes, so I mean, I've paint a little bit of a background. When I joined the Royal Marines, it was for me, it was more a necessity. My life was going in the wrong direction. My whole childhood is not the best. I wouldn't say it's the worst. It's not the greatest. At one point, I ended up homeless. So the Royal Marines for me was actually a saviour, and that's how I looked at it. And because of that, I actually embraced everything about it. I loved going away. I loved training. I loved every element of what we were doing as a Royal Marine. Like I say, the biggest thing for me is having a tough day. I remember one of the things that I saw was one of my best mates, Ben Wadham. Me and him, when we were on our junior command course, I looked across. I was like, I'm done. I don't want any more of this. I'm done. I looked across and he was just in a worse state than I was. And I was like, better make sure he's all right. And then 2 days later, he looked across and I was in a worse state than he was, and we all just bounce off each other. And I was very, very privileged to be able to move around quite a lot, do a load of different roles, meet a load of people, and I've got some incredible friends, and we all really, really looked out for each other massively.
Fantastic.
I think that's anything, like military or police or something like that brotherhood, innit? You can't put your finger on. There's something special about it. Yeah, I completely understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You must have overcome some losses as well of some very close team members, some very close friends, because you're in a unit together. It's not like you can go off and do your own thing in a normal job. So how did you manage to overcome those sort of challenges as well?
So unfortunately, I think more so in the last 5 years, when I was in the job, most of the funerals that we went to were guys that had lost their lives whilst in Iraq or Afghan, or tragically in traffic accidents and things like that. It's only been more pertinent, really, that the last few years that we've been going to funerals of guys that have been taking their own lives due to Ptsd. I don't think there's any real way of dealing with it. You've got to talk to your friends. You've got to lean on people that are hurting at the same time as well. But these are the kind of people that will understand. The good thing about the brotherhood is, like Robbie said, one of the really good things about the brotherhood is it doesn't matter whether you're an Army, RAF, Navy, Marines, whatever, para. If you need to lean on someone, you lean on someone that that's been there. Talk to someone that we've one of my really good friends has started a group called UK Bootnecks, and it's not just the Marines in there, it's for everyone. And we've got a couple of paras in there, things like that. We found a really good friend. He's an ex-Marine. None of us knew him in that group, and he's become as close to anyone that have served together. And it's just because of the understanding that you have when times are tough. I know that he won't mind me speaking about like he's had some really, really tough times, and he's lent on us loads. But he's been there so much. Over the last 2 years, and I've had to lean on him a lot, and he's always been there. Just like Ben Wadamaz, Will McLaren, Dean Vallis, all these guys that I serve with, they've been absolute rocks for me. And we just try to be there for each other. It's always about making a phone call or sending a message to someone every week, every day. Just reach out to somebody, and then every week, every 2 weeks, reach out to somebody you haven't reached out to for a long time, and just touch base. And it's just about keeping the lines of communication open with everyone.
Definitely, and that was the question I was going to ask, is about the communication with, your former colleagues. It's just as important as your colleagues, I guess, now with your current job.
Yeah.
And did you go through any counselling as well, or did you just do it all in your own kind? You dealt with it yourself, or was it really your friends that were there because they'd experienced the same situation as yourself?
No, I've reached out. I've reached out to a friend of mine, Jamie Sanderson. We've had a chat. I've reached out to a couple of people just to help me through. But yeah, a lot of it is the brotherhood, leaning on to the brotherhood. And I wouldn't say it's because we've all been through the same thing. It's one of the things that I've always struggled with is how one person can see one thing one way and another can see it another way, to the extent that they're going to take their own life. And that's what I'm trying to bridge the gap and find out why people think that there isn't enough help out there, or they can't talk to their brothers, their sisters, their you know what I mean, from part of the family. They can't talk to their extended family, their normal family, their mum, the dad, the sister, the brother, that kind of thing. And it gets to a state where they genuinely feel they've got nowhere else to turn. That's the one thing that I struggle with, and I'm trying to bridge the gap to find out what's going on with that. And yeah, the best way I can do with that is we're all as long as we all talk, and you feel very comfortable to talk to other people, even if it is something that you feel embarrassed about, ashamed about, something like that, you're still able to turn around to one of your brothers or sisters and say, look, I am struggling, I need some help with this. And ultimately from that, if you can have that chat, and it leads to other things, you can either you feel better from that chat, or if you don't, there's other avenues that people can go down to help you. And ultimately there's quite a few charities and resources out there now that are really doing a great job. I mean, better than a great job, a fantastic job. And I mean, yeah, for me, I think it's about 30 years too late. Nice. Maybe 40 years too late, but like what the government are doing, or what the military are doing now, and what the charities are doing now, I think is incredible. But I just think we're going to have this massive backlog, because this has been going on since 82, since Auckland, since before that, since Northern Ireland. It's been going on a long time, and it's only just being identified. When you think about how far you go back, it's only been identified, and really people are starting to really push onto the fact that people need proper help. It's only really just started.
Totally agree there. And also another thing which I think the government needs to make aware of is having the money in the investment for it. And I know that a lot of charities these days are aimed at men now, which is finally great, because everybody just thinks that problems sometimes in the past just used to be for women. And actually, no, men can go through just as much, no matter whether it's a trauma, a loss, your work situation, your home situation. There's so many triggers that can happen these days with mental health. And, we've seen over the last few years that it's really coming to light now. Social media is big on it. People are talking more. People are not embarrassed or scared or frightened. And I think it's just relaying the message that, we're all as one, not to be ashamed of talking, no matter how big or small the problem is. Do you agree there as well, Robbie?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the biggest thing for men, I think obviously Richard the same. It's a bit more like the masculine. Being a man is you can't talk. You've got to hold it all in, and you've got to be the man about it. Whereas, it's all right to be not all right, if you know what I mean. Everyone will get like this, and I think it is an education gap somewhere where even at school, I never got taught anything about mental health. So literally I got shoved in the big world, and it's like, oh, this is daunting, and then you carry on, and then you think, oh, I'm a bit struggling here, I feel a bit down there, I'm anxious about this. And if I spoke about it, I wouldn't have had the problems I did, but I kept it all in, and then it bubbled up, shall we say. And I think, Richard, you'll probably say the same, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I mean, one thing that people are just starting to realise is PTSD isn't just for the military either. It's one of the biggest things for me is I've got friends that are ex-military that are all in the emergency services now, ambulance, fire, police. Then you've got the prison service as well. These guys and girls, day in, day out, have traumatic experiences that are not addressed, and they haven't been addressed properly. In the military, you have it all condensed when you go to war. Into like anywhere between 3 and a 6 month period. These guys and girls, they're there doing this job day in, day out. Like, for instance, ambulance drivers. I mean, I don't know how they do it. I mean, they are absolute saints. The NHS, you're talking doctors and nurses that work in A&E and things like that. These are the guys that are just as much on the front line as we were ever were. And they're seeing trauma day in, day out, like big trauma. And they're the ones that need the help as well. It's not, and this is what I love about a lot of the charities. A lot of the charities, even the ones that started up off a military background, they started as like with a Royal Marines background, and then they diversified into the army, into the RAF. They're now doing all of them, and even to the point where women, like, you've got birth is a traumatic experience as well, and people forget that, and they talk about the postnatal thing. It's the same thing. It's a traumatic, really traumatic event that has made something upstairs, or you're making you look at life slightly differently. It's making you depressed. It's making you anxious. It all needs addressing. Every bit of it does, and people are just starting to realise that it's not just the war junkies or whatever happened out there. It is everyone through every walk of life, and that's the one thing that I'm really, really loving, is that everyone's getting on board that as well. It needs to be that one of that message. I mean, yes, it is quite pertinent in some specific areas, but the message needs to go out that it is everybody, and this is why you check on everybody, not just your military friends. You check on all your friends, everyone around you.
Totally agree there.
Awesome.
Totally agree. And obviously, you know, we're going through a very trialing and testing time with COVID at the moment. Believe me, it's not been easy for anyone. If anyone can say right now, as in today, it's been a doddle and it's been easy this year, then they're on another planet, because we've all been suffering in minor or major ways. I've had setbacks, you know, I suffer from a bit of depression and anxiety through stuff that's happened to me in the past. And yeah, I have days when I'm like, it's all fine. And then suddenly a bit of reality kicks in, watching something on the news, or someone says something, or I'm sat in my flat and I'm missing my family because, you know, I haven't seen them since Christmas. And that's the truth. I haven't seen most of my family for 6-7 months. So how are you, you know, how are you dealing with COVID at the moment with everything that's been going on in the past?
So more recently, I'm dealing with it a lot better. At the beginning part, I was just like doing my normal thing, going out for my runs, keep myself busy. I just obviously wasn't going out and meeting people, so I was doing a lot of work online. I did a few courses, and everything was fine. And then I found after about 6 weeks, I found myself like struggling to get out of bed. And I think at its worst, I was in bed for 3 days, literally getting up to just go to eat, coming back downstairs, coming back upstairs, and going back into bed, and really struggling to motivate myself. And I spoke to my friends about it a little bit, but it's hard. They're like, "Come on, get up, come on, you know you got it." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I am. Yeah, I'm getting up now." Phone down, just like blanket back over. It was really, really hard. And the transition into that is the next phase of this, getting out of my bed and actually getting into doing some stuff. Luckily, work has picked up a little bit. The festival stuff, we'll go on to that probably a little bit later, has picked up a little bit. There's more for me to do, and I'm actually getting a little bit more excited. We're able to rugby train again, so that means I'm outside, I'm rugby training with the lads, I'm back with the lads. And because we're allowed to go and see a different household, you're allowed to go and be in another bubble. I went to see one of my best friends. I'm godfather to his kids, Matthew Williams. He was my boss. He was my original troop boss when I was going through training as a Marine.
Wow.
So he's now one of my best friends in the world, and getting down there to see them, because that is like proper family to me.
Oh, that's lovely. I bet that brought a massive smile to your face. Just the simplest little things in life right now you have to cherish, don't you? Because it's suddenly everybody. For me, I don't know whether you feel like this as well, Robbie. For me, I felt a bit like a prisoner, especially beginning of COVID, when it was complete, everyone's using the word lockdown, it's very Americanism, but that's how it's been, is when, you know, you can't go and see anybody, you can't really go to the shops, you can go for a walk, but you're not, you know, you're only allowed to do one form of exercise a day. Do you remember at the beginning of COVID? And then now things are slowly easing back. You know, I'm back to rugby training tomorrow, I can't wait. Well, with a difference, fitness training. You guys are back.
Be saying it a day after.
Yeah, Thursday is going to be fun, climbing up 2 flights of stairs to my flat. Can't wait. I'm going to set up a bed downstairs by the front door.
It's basically an extended fat camp at the beginning of pre-season. That's all it is.
Yeah, just when I'm telling everybody I'm super fit now because I'm doing so much fitness, I think that might be a bit of a lie.
Everyone thought I was super fit until I got back to training, and I was about 10 kilos overweight, and yeah, but it's all right. It drops off real easy now.
Beer one.
Yeah.
me v beer. So yeah, so obviously talking about the rugby side of things, you've gone back to training. Have you gone back to training this week?
Yeah, so we were actually we were training 4 weeks ago. I think we went back, but it was literally social distancing training. So we could turn up. We couldn't even use our ATP pitch because we weren't allowed. So we were back on the grass, and they were set basically how our coach had set it out is he'd put out a load of coned areas. That was each individual person's area, and you were not allowed. If you had to go for the run, it was a marked route out of that area to keep everyone social distancing away from each other. You couldn't even like give each other a pat on the back afterwards. It was just like turn up, do the fitness, have a bit of chat, walk off like see you next week, guys. And it was very weird, and it was nice that the brotherhood bit was back, but it was really weird, and it wasn't working for me. And I then became lazy and was like, yeah, forget that. So we went back on Monday. We do Monday, Wednesday on pre-season, then we switched to Tuesday, Thursday.
Wow.
And last night was my first proper pre-season session with the lads, and it was hard. It was very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
I think that's what I'm expecting. And you, Rob, as well. You're back at training or fitness training now, aren't you?
Yeah. So since lockdown, I think we've all drank too much. Country. Yeah. And I've been I went back to pre-season last week, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack, if I'm honest.
I couldn't get my heart rate down last night. I'm 38 years old. My heart rate's not meant to be 183.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's weird as well because there's still restrictions, and we're literally just pure feds. Instead of being able to pass a ball or kick a ball, you can't do bets on the basics. So it's literally just pure fitness. Go and run the length of the pitch. What? Yeah. I don't normally do that in a game.
I know. Not anymore, anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird for me tomorrow. Is like I'm going to meet my team for the first time in so many months tomorrow. I mean, I've seen a couple of them for social distance walks, but the natural thing is you just want to give them a hug or a pat on the back, and we're not allowed to do any of that because of the social distancing thing. And we're going to be in little bubbles of 5 with a dedicated bubble team leader who's going to be doing all our training for us. So yeah, I'll report back on how that goes after tomorrow night if I'm still alive. Yeah, good stuff. And then that kind of takes us on to sport generally. So yeah, talking about like atmospheres of sport as well. I mean, I am a football fan as well. I love all sorts of sports. I know someone's got to like a little bit of football.
I'm a Liverpool fan.
I'm not going to say a word. I support a Midlands team. They're doing all right in the Premiership at the moment, but try and guess top 6.
I'm going to go Wolves.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought I'd say that. Yeah.
The mighty Wolves. Yes, we're doing all right at the moment. So
Fighting for Europe.
Come on. Yeah, I know, but it's just like typical. I watched the Everton game last night. Just that noise, that fake background noise is so not the same. So can you imagine if we're playing rugby whenever that starts and we're not allowed a crowd? How do you think mentally players or we would deal with that in that situation?
Well, it's funny you should say that. I've literally just been reading. One of my rituals in the morning now is I read the news. I put the news on and then get my Sky Sports app up. And Paul Gustard from Harlequins has actually been in contact with Frank Lampard. because
Wow.
he wants to know like how Franks has taken this Chelsea team from through a very average Chelsea side through COVID, playing with no support whatsoever. He's taken up to third in the table. So he's reaching out and asking. He's like, how have you done it? Like, what's it like? Like, what do I say to my players? Like, how do you react to something if the crowd's not there helping you to react to it as well? And so yeah, it's interesting that you say that. Even the professionals are reaching out to other professionals to find out how you go about it, because it's going to be different. Like a lot of teams, like for instance, Exeter Chiefs. They're one of the most driven sides, but with a crowd behind them.
Yes.
Everyone talks about the crowd being the 16th person. With them, I think it's 16th and 17th. Like they get really with that tomahawk chant. They really get going. Same with Saints at the Gardens. So it's going to be interesting with these teams, but that have their stadiums are really the support is really close to the pitch, where you get that real big atmosphere.
Yeah.
How are they going to fare when they don't have an atmosphere? The likes of Saracens, their team, there's a running track between them and their supporters. Like the atmosphere isn't as bubbling and as electric, so it might not affect them as much. It's just little things like that I'm thinking that is it going to make it slightly easier for another team and things like that. It's weird with London Irish going to their brand new stadium. They're going to walk into their brand new stadium. They thought they were going to run out in front of all their crowds. It's going to be dead.
Yeah.
That's going to be their new home ground. How are they going to deal with that? I genuinely don't know. I've never run out into a stadium where I haven't had that atmosphere around me.
No, and it's going to be mentally challenging. You think about like my team's Quins. I love them. I've seen them loads of times.
Yeah.
The stoop is massive, the capacity there. I mean, I've been fortunate to play sevens on there last year, and we only had a few people in the crowd, but somehow I dealt with that. But I'm thinking when it's a bit more of a serious game, like a Premiership game, both for the men's sport and for women's Premiership as well, literally you almost think, are they being coached at the moment on if there is a return to go back, minus the crowd, mentally how they deal with it? Because, you know, when you score a try in rugby or a goal in football, the crowd go wild. And then now the players are just like, oh, okay. And you think that takes probably even more motivation than ever to get up in the mornings and go and play that sport without
obviously, Richard, you played professional rugby.
Yes.
For a long time, and that'd be something interesting because even some of the league I play in, they've still got fans, ain't you? And it does cheer you on. Apart from some of the fans I got just shout abuse at me. Obviously, as someone from yourself, I think does that not motivate you, don't you, when you're going out into a crowd?
It does. I'll just correct that. I wouldn't say it was a long time. I did. I would have liked. I'd have liked to have played for a long time at that level, but no. I joined the Marines, and then my life took a whole new route from there. But I was lucky enough whilst being in the Marines, playing for some teams, that we got some crowds there. Sometimes some quite big crowds there. So it was nice. But yeah, I was reading up today about they're looking at trialing, bringing supporters back in September. I can't remember off the top of my head if it was a football game or a darts. They were saying they're going to trial bringing back a few supporters, because I think if you can section off the stadiums, yes, you're not going to have nowhere near as many people. You can still get an atmosphere with a few people in there. If you put in, I've been to the Stoop where I've been to one of the when England women first started playing there. My friend Marley Packard said, "Please come down," and you know that they only have one. Well, they used to only have that one side open, and it used to be half full. And I tell you what, that for me, I used to be like, wow, that's some noise being created from like 1,000 people were there. I mean, in the early days, it was only about 400. Now, a women's game, they fill it. And I love it. I love going there. Yeah. I go to as many women's internationals as I can. I've still got friends that play for Wasps women and Sarries, so I go as much as I can if I'm not playing to go and watch the women's game as well. Good. And it's just amazing that I've seen the transition from no fans to filling stadiums. And I think it's going to have a massive effect on the women's game as well, because you've got some of the young girls that have come through and they don't know what it was like to play without any fans. They're coming out and people are cheering them on, and you're not going to have that. It's going to be weird. It is going to be weird, and it's going to be hard to control lower down the levels. So when you think about people paying to go and watch, then you think about maybe like National 2
Yes.
or below them, when you can get 2, 3, 4, sometimes 500 people turning up to watch. It's not a gated stadium. It's people. It's usually public land, and or it's open, and you can just walk in. So how are you going to stop people coming to watch rugby because they've got nothing else alive to go and watch? When the games start up again, I think it's next month, isn't it? July. Yeah. The Premiership starts up in August the 14th, I think it is, and then local games start in September. So I'm hoping that they've got something in place.
Yeah, I hope so too. And it is literally watch this space, because I'm just as intrigued and interested as you are. I guess you are as well, Rob, aren't you? Because you're right. As much as it's going to affect the big boys and the big, the ladies' paid games, it's going to affect our level of rugby as well, because okay, I play for a side that we've done all right. We've gone from a development side through to a reasonable league, and we get, I don't really know how many people we get on an average Sunday, because we play Sunday games, but we get a nice number. We get the regulars, and we get some people that just literally take the dog for a walk, and they're like, oh, there's some sports. There's a bar. Let's go for a beer and watch some sport. And then they realise it's women's rugby, and they're like, wow, you guys can tackle. You're not a bad side. It's like, yes. And we've been surprised when we've got some of the first team men that have come, because they're always hungover on a Sunday. And then they come and watch us, and they're like, you ladies can play. And we're like, well, we have played for 9 years. We're quite good.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, I've played for 9 years. So taking us on to, or continuing with the rugby theme, Richard, is obviously, I'm noticing a little logo here for London Sevens. A bit of promotion there. So tell us a little bit more about your involvement with London Sevens, what's happening, what's going on, so that the viewers can find out a bit more.
Yeah, okay, so LDN Sevens is a sports and music festival held predominantly on the first bank holiday weekend in May. I'm the founder of it. I literally was getting bored of going to these smaller events. You had either the big event or the really, really small event, and I'm trying to bridge that gap, and then obviously make it more appealing. We're looking at rugby, hockey, netball. And this year, obviously, it was meant to happen in May, didn't happen in May. We've held off on cancelling it because we're still in talks with the council, and having been on the phone to them today, they're still very excited that this could go ahead. The bank holiday weekend in August, so the 28th, 29th and 30th of August. So Friday, the gates open on Friday the 28th. The games are going to be Saturday the 29th, Sunday the 30th, and then Monday the 31st is a bank holiday. We are, at this moment, we are still a go. We are not releasing tickets on sale until we get the full green light, which we should know by Friday this week, Monday at the latest. All we've got to do is we've got to submit how we're going to do our social distancing and things like that. So we've broken it up into smaller arenas. We're controlling the crowd a little bit more. We're going to do COVID testing on the way in. So we're hopefully going to have a sterile area. So at the moment we still are a go. If we can't do the rugby, which will be really upsetting, we're still going to have the festival theme for the day, and we're going to have the rugby up on the big screens. We're going to have some of the football up on the big screens. We're going to create a couple of different arenas that we can have sport on all day, so you can be outdoors in the sun watching sport, listening to music. There's going to be some themed areas as well. There's going to be some good food there. And there's camping. There's going to be camping available, so it's one of those that you can just go and just relax and put your feet up and just have a weekend away. Even if you're in London, just go put your tent up and have that festival feel. Get drunk and be hungover the next day, and then stumble out to the bar, have a hair of the dog, and just look at a rugby pitch, go, "Wow, I'm glad I'm not playing today," type thing. That's the idea. So we're not giving up the ghost yet. I know today. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, today it was Summer Social pulled out. They're the last big one to say we can't do it.
Right.
I think I'm having spoken to someone about that. I think their hands have been tied a little bit on a few other things where we're not governed by too many other people at the moment. So we're doing what we can. We're speaking to the right people. Believe me, this won't go ahead unless it's safe. That's the last thing I want. But at the same time, I know how many people out there want this to happen, and I'm going to give them something.
For sure. And, I'm an advocate for any sort of festival, mainly sport festival these days. I've been going to Bournemouth Sevens for the last goodness knows how many years.
Yeah.
So sad about that not happening this year. Very sad. But, one of those things, it was just out of their hands. Very, very big. Attracts, 30,000 people a year plus?
30,000 people a year down at Bournemouth, yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And then I go to a couple of other Sevens tournaments which haven't happened. So, if this does happen, fingers crossed, I'm 100% going to be there with a load of my team, because try and stop us.
bring a camera and the microphone. You can do a show there.
No, awesome. I'm going to just drink and play rugby if I can.
Leave me on my own then.
We could do I tell you what, we could do a Friday night show, because it opens on Friday night. Do a Friday night show with a small crowd around you. Get it dusted, pack it all away, and then drink for the whole weekend.
Yeah, I'm up for that. As long as it can be 10 minutes with a beer in the hand and somebody keeps refilling it. There we are, Rob. There's your job.
Love it.
Boy, we've got beer boy. Sorry, Rob. Lovely. Well, that sounds really exciting. So keep us posted, please, on how things go with that, because obviously, you'll be plastering that all over social media when you get the go ahead, and wow, that'll be really good if we can get that going, and lots of
God, yeah. All fingers and toes crossed.
Fingers and toes crossed. Good stuff. Rob, anything else for you?
I was going to say, Rich, and I know you do a lot of charity work as well. You've been involved in. Obviously, I just wanted to learn more about. I think you got your own charity as well.
No, so it's not my charity. It's one that so basically it's Scotty's little soldiers, and it's Scotty's Tigers, which are the rugby team for that charity. So it was set up by a girl called Nikki O'Donnell, and she fantastically got it going, got a world record out of it as well, doing a lot of stuff for charity. And then she turned around to me when I left the military. She turned around and said, "Look, I'm doing this. I want you involved." And I was like, of course I'll be involved. So I've been helping her run the men's and women's rugby teams, and we took it internationally. So we ended up going to Ibiza. We went to Dubai to the Sevens. We did Dubai twice, men's and women's teams, which was very difficult to organise. That was. But then we do a lot of the local Sevens teams as well. And we usually choose 4 or 5 tournaments within the UK, and then depending on how much commitment we've got, because it's ultimately it's there to spread a message. If we've had full commitment all year, then we'll try our hardest to get a European or an overseas tournament in as well, if we've got good commitment, because it will mean that the message is being spread far and wide as well. And
so what would be the underlying message you're trying to spread?
So Scottish Little Soldiers is one of them. So they basically help out children if something's happened to mum or dad whilst in the military. So they do things from just presents at Christmas time, holidays of a lifetime sometimes, and literally just general support for the children. Because sometimes it's, when you talk about the military, you always think of whoever's in the military. It's also, you've got to have the knock-on effect of people, the family that are not in the military. And if something is to happen to the breadwinner or mum or dad of the family, sometimes it has a massive effect on the kids. So we can't forget that. But then I do some work for Rock to Recovery, which is it's Jason Fox and Jamie Sanderson. They set that up. We do a few of the lads do charity events. We all go and participate in those, help out where we can with that. That's a mental health charity, and like I say, they've diversified from just doing from helping out with the military stuff. They go all the way through civil servants and everything now. So it's brilliant, and they're just two. I literally, if someone comes to me with an idea or they need some help with anything to do with a charity, I'm usually all ears. And if I can help, this is one of the things I want to do with LDN Sevens. We have the British Legion come down. We have Scotties there. A lot of our teams are charity-based teams, and I make sure they all get a discount coming in. But then also I make sure that where a lot of other events, they'll be like, right, it's X amount to have your tent here, and then it's a little bit more if you want to have 2 tents. They can spread their word for us for free. They can shake their bucket and get some money. I'm completely happy with them to do all of that. I want the word to be out there about everything. I mean, I'm one of the things that I'm looking at in the future. I say one of the things that we're looking at in the future is creating a charity tournament, like a charity league, and then the winner of that tournament will donate money to the winning team. Not to the team, but the winning charity will have a check to the winning charity as part of that. We're trying to do quite a few little things, like a little. We want to do a little military league as well, a little military sevens league, so you could be the armed forces sevens champions and things like that. It's quite fun. We've got some ideas going forward to how to make it a bit better. But yeah, we're very, very, very open to having all charities down there and like getting their word out to everyone, because you have quite a like both of you know, when you go to a sevens tournament, quite a big one, you have a diverse group of people there, and you never know who you might bump into there, who might be able to help you out, take you to the next level on the charity on the charity push, and things like that. And go on.
No, as I was like, you're just is inspirational. You know, you literally. Now I feel so good. I don't know how you do it. It's just so, you know, to literally just go, I need some help. Oh, here you go. And literally you'll help us let any charity fly. So
I'll try my hardest to do anything for anyone,
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think you should be proud of yourself for what you do. I think no one said that to you. I think you should be proud of yourself, mate.
Thank you, Robbie. That's very kind words, mate. Very good.
No, very good. You seem like very positive, lots of motivation. And I think if you've got that kind of positivity and get up and go, then you'll get what you want, and you know you'll succeed. So keep up the hard work.
Thank you very much. I'm glad this is now and not like a few weeks ago when I couldn't get out of bed though. Guys, the sun's out now and I'm able to go outdoors a lot, so I'm all right.
We're happy.
Rugby training's back, so I'm all right.
Awesome. Now, just one last thing for people who have suffered with COVID, still struggling, anyone, you know, who is having a bad day or is down or struggling, what would be your advice to them?
My advice it's a bit cheesy, and it comes from some old Navy SEAL that said it, but the simple things: get up, make your bed, is the first thing. I mean, I don't know when that his whole speech came out about that, but we were getting told that years ago. Like, the biggest thing to do is to get up, make your bed. That's your first task done of the day. Get downstairs, make coffee, have some breakfast, and then literally just being up and out of, like, from one room to another, it changes your whole outset for the day. And then you can turn around, right, what do I need to do? And you just need, it's the self-motivation. It's very hard to do, but if you can get up, doesn't matter if it's not 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or even 10 o'clock. If you can get up, make your bed, have a shower, get yourself ready for the day, even if it is halfway through the day, you will then feel like you'll feel more energized, and you'll want to do something with the day, especially if the sun's out.
Awesome.
That's one of the biggest things I can say is get up and make the bed and have the shower, and that's the best way to start any day.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you.
Totally agree, and I do that every day. The bed is not done. I'm still in bed all day.
My bed's always made in the morning. I literally, if I walk past my housemate's room and his bed's not made, I have to make it for him. I think he just does it on purpose now.
Or it's the OCD kicking in. Fantastic. Right. So I don't have any more questions. Rob, anything else?
No. I think I said you've been a great guest. Thank you so much for your time.
Guys.
Absolute pleasure tonight, Richard. Thank you.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much for having me on.
No worries. And it's been really good to talk to you and hear all your experiences and your adventures and everything. We'll be airing this very shortly. So as soon as it's aired, obviously we'll let you know.
Yep.
For the viewers, if there's any further questions you've got, then we're on Facebook, which is the Pinnacle Mindset Show. show, feel free to drop us a line on Facebook, and look forward to the next show that we've got coming up soon. So lots of exciting guests for the future. We'd love to have you back soon, Richard. Maybe we might do another one where we can talk about how the festival went.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Get that penciled in for September. But now it's been a pleasure, and thank you very much for everybody's time tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been an honour being on. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.